Here we go. Bryan versus Bryan. We love to see it. Two tag guys in their singles debut. No, Brother Bryan's had a singles match before, I believe. Bryan going for the roll-up on Bryan. Bryan kicks out at 1. Now Bryan hitting Bryan with a bunch of kicks to the chest to start the tempo of the match. But of course you've got Brother Bryan, who is a former MCW Tag Team Champion alongside Noah Sark, aka the Covenant, and then you've got the newly formed, or the newly debuting tag team of the Rock City Stars, who have lost both of their tag matches so far against Velocity and Severance last week. But which Bryan is the better Bryan? And Bryan will follow a slam to Bryan. And right now it's Bryan that's looking relatively dominant in this match. As he's just flinging Bryan around like he weighs nothing. Bryan with a nice running power slam. Starting to feel himself a bit. Obviously we'll see his tag partner performing later tonight in the 8-man Battle Royal to decide the #1 contender for the European Championship. But now Bryan's getting a bit of offense in now. As we go into Chain Wrestling, as he throws the big man across the ring, and now a nice DDT. Oh, it's 8 men, is it? To be fair, it was 8 men from the beginning. I just completely forgot to put Noah in the graphic. You can tell it was always supposed to be 8 as well, because I put out a tweet yesterday as Leon Grimes saying, oh, you know, there's 8 people in the match. So I clearly knew it was always supposed to be 8. I just forgot to put Noah in the graphic. I don't even know why. It feels disrespectful to him, but I just completely forgot. I did make the graphics at like 4 in the morning, to be fair. Something like that. I don't fucking know. But Bryan with a big slam down to the other Bryan. It does look like Bryan has managed to switch the match in his favour. Dealing some dangerous blows to Bryan. Now slamming Bryan against the mat. Now Bryan tripping Bryan up. Bryan goes for a super kick, but Bryan dodges it. Bryan with a big clothesline. Going for the pin now. 1. Kick out at 1 from Bryan. Now Bryan picking Bryan up. Little super kick there, but it doesn't even seem to really phase Bryan, who gets thrown to the edge of the ropes. And now a drop kick to send Bryan falling to the ground. As the fight spills to the outside of the ring. Oh, Bryan having a little rest. Taking a seat. Bryan trapped in the corner. Never mind, not for long as he dodges out. A nice jumping neck breaker from Bryan. Now some stomps to the chest. Bryan moving Bryan away from the ropes for some reason. Throwing Bryan against the ropes now. But a nice power slam. As he now lifts him up. Taking him back down to the mat. As Bryan climbs to the top rope. Just for a big elbow, but Bryan moves out the way. Another power slam from Bryan. And now it's Bryan that's going to the top rope this time. Going for the leg drop, but Bryan's the one to roll out the way. Each Bryan predicting the other perfectly. And Bryan's got Bryan high. Is he going for the Razor's Edge? No, Bryan manages to get out of it and reversing with a neck breaker. Bryan. Then a slingshot rolling drop kick. And Bryan with another drop kick. And I think that was a super kick. I actually looked away for that second, but Bryan going for the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at the last possible second from Bryan. Bryan going for another pin. 1, and a kick out at 1 from Bryan. Bryan rolling up. And a leg takedown into the roll up here. Bryan's looking to steal it. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. Bryan nearly stole it in the last second. Bryan drops down, lifts him up, and just powering him down to the ground. And now Bryan going for the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Bryan. Bryan can't believe it. He thought he had it won, but Bryan's still got some fight in him. And Bryan with the end of days goes into the pin. 1, 2, 3. And Bryan is your winner of the Bryan versus Bryan match. Both Bryans giving everything that they had to prove themselves as the real Bryan. But after all of that, it's Bryan who comes out on top. It was a hard-fought battle. The real question is, does this bring in a wave of hate or respect from Bryan to Bryan? Genuinely agree. I told you, man. I told you. The Bryan versus Bryan match was always going to be real graps. All right. It was always going to be a big graps. It was always going to be graps. As Bryan stands there, bloody-faced. But he is the winner at the first ever MCW Bryan versus Bryan match. Huge stakes were on the line. And that was to be deemed as the best Bryan in MCW.